In today's top lessons learnt video, we're going to review last game week's fixtures and break down the key takeaway points to keep you ahead in FPL for the up and coming game week. From Cole Palmer's recent drop in form to Marmoush's first half hat-trick. Let's talk about it in today's top lessons learnt video. Just before we get into the first talking point of the video, of course, I am on the road to 1,000 subs on YouTube. So if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, please do consider it for future FPL videos and, of course, deadline streams. And if you do enjoy today's video, make sure you click that like button as well. But for me, a great talking point to start the video off is actually Cole Palmer and his disappointing run he's had for the last few weeks in FPL. The reason I'm bringing this up is because over 100,000 managers have already sold him before the game week 26 deadline, and it really strikes a question straight away for me is, what is your plan without Cole Palmer for game week 27 and 28? He has Southampton at home followed by Leicester at home, two of the best fixtures he'll have all season. And the reason that question pops up in my head straight away is when we look at the fixtures for game week 27 and potential captaincy options for that game week. A lot of the big teams play each other, but Chelsea have that Southampton at home fixture. And if we look at the predicted points by Fantasy Football Hub here, 8.8 points predicted against Southampton at home for Cole Palmer. When we look down the list, you've got Salah facing Newcastle, Haaland facing Tottenham, which I actually don't think is a bad shout if you do still own Erling Haaland, but a lot of these players just don't have great fixtures apart from Cole Palmer. So yes, he has been quite disappointing, and he's only had 4 attacking returns in the last 10 game weeks in FPL. It's completely understandable if you want to get rid of him, but my question is, what is your plan for game week 27 and game week 28? Are you planning to go with a slightly cheaper option in Christopher Nkunku, who looks like he's replacing Jackson at that front position? But for me, 27 and 28 is just such a great period to own Cole Palmer, and I'm definitely going to keep a hold of him for those fixtures. Now, another really important talking point from game week 25 was Marmoush's first half hat-trick against Newcastle. A super surprising result. I did think City would get over the line in this fixture, but I didn't expect it to be in such a manner. Of course, the question pops up now straight away, is it time to bring in Marmoush? I think there's potential within this move, only when we look at game week 27. I think the next 3 fixtures of Liverpool, Spurs and Forest just aren't fantastic. It's only Spurs that I see potential for attack and returns for a player like Marmoush. Of course, optimally, if we're looking at when to bring these type of players in, especially City assets, it's really 29 onwards where I think we can start to target these players and get them back into our squads. Of course, we haven't owned City players for a long time, or I guess the majority of us haven't, especially with that disappointing period that they put up earlier in the season. But yeah, over 200,000 managers have brought them in at time of recording. I expect that number to slightly rise through the week. But yeah, I think optimally we're looking at 29 onwards for City assets, just like Marmoush. Now, if you've watched my recent videos, you'll understand that I really like the pick of Dango Ouattara. I think as a value option in the game right now, he's one of the best midfield options you can pick in the game. And of course, he outscored the other 2 really popular moves this game week, Kluivert and Semenyo, getting a really nice chunk of minutes as well in that Southampton away fixture. And I think for the foreseeable future, in terms of fixtures and usability, is really still a great option to own, and you can happily own him for the next 6 to 8 game weeks, no problems at all. Of course, 3.1% ownership, 5.1 million. I don't think it gets much better than this as a midfield pick, especially when we're looking at the Bournemouth lineup. Playing out of position, listed as a midfielder on the FPL website, but playing up front in that Bournemouth side. I really like Dango Ouattara. Perhaps we have to keep an eye on Evan Nielsen probably coming back in the next few weeks, but we don't have any news or a return date for Evan Nielsen at the time of recording. So Dango Ouattara remains a really great option in FPL at the moment, in my opinion. Now, as a Sunderland fan, I have massive respects for Amad Diallo. He did a lot for my club on his loan spell, and this season he's been a real bright spark for United in a really disappointing season. It is sad to report, though, that he is probably out for the rest of the Premier League season with an injury. A massive blow to Manchester United, and he's probably one of the only positives United fans can take away from this Premier League season, because when he has played, he's looked a real bright spark in that United attack, but sadly won't be usable for the rest of the FPL season. So from an FPL point of view, where do we go from here if you own Amad Diallo? At 5.5 million, I think the obvious replacements kind of turn towards Bournemouth midfielders. You're looking at Kluivert, Semenyo, and of course Dango Ouattara. I think if you want to get a bit differential with it and perhaps even save some money on Amad Diallo, you can look at Ethan Nwaneri as well. Now, we'll cover Ethan Nwaneri in the next section of the video. But yeah, super disappointing for United fans, and I'm disappointed myself because I love Amad Diallo as a player. But yeah, he could be out and probably will be out for the rest of the Premier League season. Now, as I mentioned in the previous section of the video, Ethan Nwaneri could be a decent buy to save some money in your FPL teams, and of course is a massive differential at 2% ownership. Only 5.4 million, which is absolutely crazy to get an asset from one of the best teams in the league, and of course he is playing really well when he does get the opportunity in that Arsenal lineup. It does look likely that he's going to get a large chunk of minutes going forward in the next few weeks of FPL. I think it's only really Saka coming back into the side that will affect Ethan Nwaneri's minutes, and perhaps we can expect Saka around game week 29 going into game week 30 as well. But for the time being, West Ham, Forest, Man United and Chelsea, that kind of 4 fixture period is kind of how long I think we can own Ethan Nwaneri and get away with it in terms of the minutes he will get allocated in that Arsenal side. Of course, coming away with a 9-pointer against Leicester, well done to those who brought him in. I was kind of debating bringing him in, but I ended up bringing in Dango Ouattara for that longer term play. But Ethan Nwaneri for the short term in the Arsenal lineup is going to get a large chunk of minutes. So I don't think at all at 4.5 million he's a bad buy at all. It does save you money. It really depends what you're doing with that money, of course. But at 4.5 million, 2% ownership, having a spot in that really top Arsenal side, I think he could be a decent buy for the next few weeks in FPL as well. For the managers in FPL who have had the assistant manager chip active for the last few weeks, this could potentially be a really great week to chase some table bonus and going away from a manager like Emery or Arne Slot or even David Moyes. I think perhaps doing a transfer on a manager could be worthwhile this game week. I mean, we've got the predicted points for the assistant managers for game week 26 here. Arteta top of the table against West Ham at home. Of course, that could be a really high scoring game where Arsenal easily get the win and potentially a clean sheet. So there is a good chance that Arteta is the highest scoring manager for the game week. Gets interesting when we start to get into table bonus territory. We've got Glasner here, who faces a Fulham side who will be most likely 5 places higher at the time of the game week deadline. Van Nistelrooy, someone who I don't really expect to get a result against Brentford. We've got, of course, Southampton's manager there. Probably another one I won't spend too much time thinking about. Iraola playing Wolves. I think Bournemouth will start to put a few goals against past people and teams like this in particular. McKenna as well. Tottenham, do I think Spurs can kind of slip up against Ipswich? Is definitely a possibility there. But overall, there's a lot of kind of potential for table bonus this week. So maybe it's worthwhile transferring out your Arne Slot, your Emery, your David Moyes and chasing a table bonus fixture. But there, of course, is that massive risk that the table bonus just doesn't work out and you're left in a position where you haven't gained too many points in this particular week. But people who have kept the likes of Slot or maybe went with a non-bit table bonus fixture like Arteta has and gained slightly more points. But there is massive upside in a table bonus manager, and perhaps this game week is the week to go for it. Of course, in game week 25, Trent comes away with a clean sheet in a fixture that Liverpool actually didn't get a clean sheet. He comes away and comes off the pitch before the goal was scored, resulting in a 6-pointer for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, I can hold my hands up as an owner and say I'm very lucky to come away with 6 points in that fixture. Those who own Konate, Van Dijk, Alisson, a little bit unlucky, but I do think Wolves deserved at least a goal in that fixture in particular. I don't think Liverpool actually registered a shot on target, at least in the second half from what I've seen online. But yeah, super happy to come away with 6 points with Trent. Maybe that brings alarm bells to the Aston Villa fixture later in the week. But we'll just have to wait and see if Trent starts that game, or maybe he comes off early again. Who knows what will happen, but hopefully it is available for that second fixture for his game week 25 double. Tomorrow's video is my transfer plans video, where I take a look at my squad, analyse the issues within it, and look forward to the next few weeks and my transfer plans for those up and coming game weeks. Of course, I always like to give a massive thank you to those who support the channel, and if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you drop that like, and if you aren't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that button for more FPL videos and of course deadline streams. But that is absolutely everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.